Hey everyone, welcome back to my vinyl collection. Today we're talking about Bring Me the Horizon's re-release of Count Your Blessings and Suicide Season. So first up is Count Your Blessings. This was originally released in 2006 and is one of their first releases. Now I like the cover because of the colour grading. First of all, you have your greens, your blues, and it looks very gorgeous and very suited to the underwater kind of vibe they got going on here with the images. Now obviously there's a set of images in like sort of an aquarium with various sort of sea life, jellyfish and other species of fish floating around, and it's very unthreatening, very innocent, especially when there's a girl staring into it. And everything looks very calm and relaxed, but then when you see the shark, it kind of suggests this subtle underlying sense of rage and intensity that the music actually has. So I feel like that's quite a nice way to reflect the album in terms of the cover and the music. Now on the back it carries on this almost dark and psychedelic feel with a series of images that's kind of cut and spliced together in all sorts of ways and positions that kind of overlay each other, and I feel like it just reinforces the sense of madness and just insanity that this album has, which people would understand if you just listen to it. So yeah, so that's the cover. Now the record itself is the metallic gold variant, which is one of the reasons why I bought this version, not only just because it was re-released, but it was slightly special than getting the black ones, which are quite traditional, a bit too traditional for my liking. And so I thought since the special one's coming out, I might as well get it. So yeah, this is the metallic gold version. It's not as gold as I hoped it would be, which is a bit of a disappointment because it's not as vibrant as I hoped it was going to be. It is quite dark, it almost feels a bit washed out, but under certain lighting conditions it does kind of seem quite gold, but obviously not now in my room lights. But yeah, so I mean it's nice that they made an effort, but it would have been better if it was somewhat vibrant and more like a gold record. Now this is a 10-song track list, and the genre is obviously deathcore, so this is way back when the band was really young and it started off with this really intense sound. Now a few standout tracks that I feel like interesting to talk about will obviously be Pray for Plagues, one of the most popular tracks on the album, and it is a very insanely aggressive piece with certain riffs that almost step into the metalcore territory. There's a lot of growling in this one, so it's really intense, and I kind of understand why hardcore Bring Me the Horizon fans do miss this kind of sound. A Lot Like Vegas has parts of the song which are much more comprehensive and distinctive to the rest of the album, mainly due to Ollie's shouting vocals and followed up by the gang vocals, and then the way it transitions back to the sort of deathcore breakdowns with some catchy guitar riffs. Liquor and Love Lost is a song that focuses heavily on pleasantly catchy guitars, whereas I Used to Make Out with Medusa is a song that's filled with excruciating pain, anger and profanity, put across through some throat-shredding growls with some epic guitar solos. 15 Fathoms Counting is a beautiful track that is a huge surprise on the album, mainly due to the fact that it's completely different to the rest of the songs, almost acting like an interlude in some way, as well as a polar opposite to the music and style in general. Now even though this album is really dark and really heavy, it doesn't fall short of a bit of humour, such as the song titles including Tell Slater Not to Watch His Dick and also For Stevie Wonder's Eyes Only. Now this album definitely holds up to their intensely aggressive sound early on in their career, and I can perfectly understand why people would have a mixed response towards it, almost like a love-hate kind of thing, like as if it's an aggressive masterpiece or a complete mess, and it kind of goes for the genre in general, but also obviously that's subjective. Some people like it, some people don't. It's perfectly fine, and everyone has their own opinions on music. But for me, I can listen to it fairly okay. There's a bit too much growling in this one, so it's a little bit too intense. But I have grown up listening to heavy music, so it's not too much of a surprise for me. And also I think there could be an argument that could be made that a lot of the songs on here do sound kind of similar, and there isn't really a distinctive sound between certain tracks. Only a very few have a certain element that make it stand out to the rest, which is kind of why I appreciate the next album. Now next up is Suicide Season, originally released in 2008. It's actually one of my favourite records by this band, and it's also the album that got me listening to them. Now on the cover you do get a girl holding her intestines, and I feel like it's quite a bold and brave thing to do because it's actually quite intense and quite gory, especially the fact that there's a real photo of a person holding obviously fake guts, but that's not something you see every day, and it's quite intense. And also on the back you get a close-up of her with her hands all covered in blood and blood dripping from her body, with what appears to be the wound where her stomach's been cut open. And in general, with that and calling it Suicide Season is actually quite an intense and bold thing to do. So in a way it's kind of impressive, but also gory at the same time. Now this one does actually come with an inner sleeve that's designed and has artwork on it, as opposed to a plain sleeve like the last one. However, you don't get a plastic layer inside, so it's not as protective. But what you do get is the girl's hand covered in blood, if that's your thing, carrying on the same sort of theme as the cover, and it continues this extreme look with each band looking rather intense and suffering some sort of injury and covered in blood, because I guess that's the thing now. But anyway, on the other side is the lyrics or panel with all the lyrics for each song. And then I think, you know, in general it looks quite good to me. I mean, it carries on with sort of consistency here. There's a sense of rough, worn and torn, grungy feel to it, which I feel like is very fitting to the style of music and the sort of look they got going on here. And I like that. It's quite basic as well. It's just black and white, and the worn and torn effect looks pretty cool. However, it doesn't always come into your favour, because some of it's a bit difficult to read, such as this bit here, and just various parts are a bit covered too much in that worn away effect, which makes it difficult to read. But apart from that, I feel like they made an effort to design it, and so yeah, that's great. Now for the vinyl record, my comments would be the same. You know, it's metallic gold, but it's not as gold as I want it to be. Now, a few standout tracks on the record would be Chelsea's Smile, which is one of the most iconic songs, with some raging vocals and drums, which then transitions into the breakdown, and then into a song that features a well-balanced combination of shouting and screaming, which then results into a mosh pit-inducing track. The Sadness Never Ends is actually the track that got me listening to them in the first place, as well as being my favourite song by the band in general. And I feel like it has just the right amount of hooks and catchy vocals, as well as not getting lost in a mess of pure screaming guitar shredding. The song No Need for Introductions is a track that starts off really chill and relaxed and calm, just like 15 Fathoms, and then suddenly 15 seconds in, you're bombarded by a loud, raging fit reminding you that they aren't playing around. So in general, I think it's a huge improvement over the last record, particularly in the way they've stepped away from the deathcore genre into the metalcore style of music, which I think has gone into the favour quite a bit, mainly because of the fact that the lyrics are much more comprehensive, they don't have to scream and growl as much as they used to, and it actually benefits Ollie's vocals a lot more, so he doesn't have to shred them as much and destroy them, and also benefits the listeners and also the attendees of shows where they actually can sing along and understand what's going on in the song, as opposed to just screaming their hearts out as in their previous record. And also actually benefits them in a way sonically, by making each song sound different and much more distinctive to each other, as opposed to the last album where every song kind of sounded the same. And that does it for my review of Bring Me the Horizon's Count Your Blessings and Suicide Season. Again, this is their December 2016 re-release on metallic gold vinyl. However, it's not that gold as you want it to be, so don't get your hopes up. But if you do want to get them, I got mine from Kings Road Merch / or Epitaph Records, or whatever it's called on the website. But I'm not too sure if you can get them still, but hopefully you can. But anyway, I hope you guys found the video helpful in some way, and if you did, please feel free to show support by liking, commenting, subscribing to my channel if you want to. And as usual, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time, so see ya.